burned in flow of zombies, ships, and whatever is there. I also don't think Facebook, with all these additions as an application platform, is a very good way to communicate with people.
Mm-hmm. So, well, the other thing, what we could do is to run the blog the whole time, because we also have the blog. And the blog, last year we have invited more bloggers which joined us at the meeting directly for our own blog. We invited professional journalists and well-known bloggers that I love and that I appreciate, and it ran really good. Yes, and this was in this way more successful than the year before because we got more comments. So you saw that there is more interaction. People want to talk with the bloggers about the meeting and get engaged. Also, if they are not members themselves of a meeting, if they are not sharing the meeting. So we saw that this might work in a better way, and maybe we should do something more. But what can you do if you have one meeting which is lasting 1 year, and what input can you give them? What can you blog about? What can be the topics? That's
well, but for example, you have TED conference, which is only once a year, but they don't put everything right now at a single time. They just distribute the videos.
That's what we also tried, because we are doing our own videos. We are, have a very nice joint venture with Jove, and well, they are really doing great videos. You have to take a look at them. Well, it's a special atmosphere they are able to do. I very much like that. And this is, well, what we do. Every 2 weeks we put a new of these videos online. But this is just like a gift. It's just like something you give to the people, and it's not really an invitation for interaction.
Well, this is what's been circulating here during this conference, that comments are results of a relationship, not really I don't know, just ordinary discussion. So what we've been seeing on FriendFeed very much, that people are engaging much more if they have some kind of relationship. They see this person as a live human being, not some remote blogger with high stature and so on.
But just to add to that, one of the things that TED does very well is have a member community, and it allows members to write everything about themselves and be part of the experience. And there's personality to the site. It's not just the videos coming out there; it's people interacting with other people.
Exactly.
But you mentioned organizing an alumni association of sorts at some point also, and I think that's where you're going to find a lot of those longer-term connections and a lot of that continued dialogue is long after the experience, when people are still commenting on the contacts they've made and how these talks have had an impact on their research and their careers.
Yeah, sure.
That's definitely one thing we want to do, and also try to maybe use the videos to set topics, you know.
Have them pose questions.
Yes.
Have you considered building a social network? I mean, just what science needs is another social network. Right? But in this particular case, it's all focused on something, right? That I mean, then when people join, there's something to share and discuss and get involved in, and you know, I mean, I could see this being something where a young researcher would get involved, maybe when they're still in high school or in college, that continues on then into their professional lives as they get older. And this would help to facilitate dialogue between the generations of scientists outside of the meetings.
It also allows you to bring, I'm sorry to interrupt, it also allows you to bring the people who attended these talks 5 years ago, or 6 years ago, or 10 years ago, before social media was really even an option, to bring them back into the mix again.
Yeah, the idea is actually to go to a social network for scientists, not to set up our own one, because I think the world doesn't need one more, and it's always difficult to start a new one that is isolated just to itself. Instead, we want to go to one that is already established. We are just in talks with them. They are called ResearchGate. I don't know if you've heard of them. They just have,
I have an account over there, and it's essentially empty.
Yep.
So last year there was a session on social networking and science, and the overwhelming conclusion was that if you're not talking about LinkedIn or Facebook or maybe FriendFeed or Twitter, don't bother, because in order to get a decent social network you need a critical mass of people, and to try and create a new one, and like last year there must have been like 600 groups starting up saying, well, we're going to be Facebook but for science, and without fail, all of them are terrible. But if you can kind of, LinkedIn would seem like it might be a good venue, maybe better than Facebook, because it's it has that more professional aspect. I don't know whether you can do stuff like, well, I suppose for linking videos and stuff you could host it on the science blogs or like on an external site, but I think LinkedIn might be a good alternative to Facebook for this.
But actually LinkedIn doesn't encourage conversations.
Yeah.
True. I know you can have discussion threads, but
We talked about this a little bit yesterday, and you're right. The Twitter, FriendFeed, Facebook, they've all reached this critical mass because there's more than just scientists there. But there was definitely, and there was several of us in the room that mentioned that LinkedIn was our virtual Rolodex, but nobody used it because you can't talk to anybody.
And when people say to me, I want to create a Facebook for scientists, I said it already exists, it's called Facebook.
Right.
Exactly.
They've done it.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking about is, would it also make sense to start an own site where you just say these are the different social medias we use, because they will change, and you have to have one address where people know this is the address for interaction of the Lindau meetings.
You could have a site with like web form software.
Yeah.
That you then host the videos on. The site will have form software that you can run. You can link it to, for example, the Facebook page, and come join the discussion here. And that sort of thing.
What sort of interaction? What sort of interaction do you get from the students during the meeting? You see the activity that goes on in this kind of meeting with all the delegates.
Yeah.
There's something similar happening at Lindau, or is it much lower?
Between them,
Yeah.
They interact a lot because they are spending like 1 week with each other, and they are maybe living together in the same, staying together in the same hotel. They have together their lunches and their dinners, and in between, like just like here.
But what I mean more is, do you see sort of a Twitter flurry from all the students that are at the meeting? Do you see
Our experience in the last year was that from the young students, nearly nobody is using Twitter.
Yeah.
Really, and we also try to provide some with mobile phones to use it, and while they are really curious, can I do this and what can I do?
Also have to do something that there are so many international people. Maybe Twitter is a big thing in the UK, maybe in the States, in Germany, okay. But if you go to East Europe, Asia, it might be different.
What are they using?
Twitter is mostly a higher echelons of salary and education tool. Even in the United States.
Young people
don't use it. Yeah.
But young people, like what, high schoolers?
High schoolers and
but they're not
college.
they're not talking about high schoolers.
Tech crowd in all of the world uses Twitter, and Asia is actually quite a big group on Twitter.
But you might see a massive sea change due to the fact that Twitter has now been used, for example, in Iran to get out news, in Haiti to get out news. So with that increased exposure, you might see a difference in the next year.
I have a question. What about expanding and inviting a couple like science journalism students? There's a lot of universities that now have advanced PhD work in science journalism, and so if you invited a couple of those kind of students, I'm sure they would be happy to tweet and blog and take pictures and videos.
I'm sure your sessions are already crammed full as it is, but training, even if it was an hour or 2 hours of international students saying, here are contact tools, here are networking tools that maybe you don't have much access to now.
I think that many of them fear they make mistakes, or can they really say what they think about this session, what this noble